Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we cover all things about startups and funding trends. Today, we've got some big news on the Indian startup scene for the week of 28th September to 4th October 2024. Spoiler alert, this week saw a huge dip in funding compared to last week. But don't worry, there are still some notable investments you'll want to hear about. Let's jump straight into the numbers. Indian startups raised a total of $77 million across 14 deals this week. That's a whopping 82.5% decline from last week's total of $440 million. As you can see, it's a significant drop. Last week, we saw $440 million, but this week, it's just $77 million. So, what's behind this steep decline? One reason is the absence of mega deals. But don't let that fool you, the ecosystem is still active, and we've got some key sectors and deals to discuss. Enterprise tech led the way this week with $40 million in funding from a single deal. Let's take a look at the top sectors. Enterprise tech, $40 million, one deal. Fintech, $10.6 million, one deal. Consumer goods, $8.6 million, one deal. Now, for the big players who made waves this week. Here are the top funding rounds. mStack, a specialty chemicals startup, raised $40 million. Waycool, in the agri-tech space, brought in $12 million. And finally, Basic Home Loan, in the fintech space, brought in $10.6 million. When it comes to venture capital activity, these were the most active VCs this week. Lightspeed Venture Partners, Alpha Wave Global, Oaks Asset Management. Each of them backed one significant deal. Now, let's talk about stage-wise funding. Early-stage investments led the charge this week. Here's how the funding broke down. Pre-Series A, $14 million from 11 deals. Series A, $46 million from 3 deals. Series B, $19 million from 2 deals. Debt financing, $12 million from 1 deal. Taking a step back, let's look at the bigger picture. October 2024 may have started on a slower note with only $77 million so far, but if you compare it to previous months, you'll see how funding activity fluctuates. October to date $77 million. September $1.37 billion. August $1.47 billion. Before we wrap things up, here's some exciting IPO news. A couple of Indian unicorns are preparing to go public. Swiggy has increased its IPO size to 5,000 crore rupees. CarDekho Group is expected to file for a $500 million IPO by March 2025. Ahmedabad-based co-working space provider DevX filed its draft red herring prospectus, DRHP, with market regulator Securities and Exchanges Board of India, SEBI, this week. Its proposed IPO will consist solely of a fresh issue of 2.47 crore equity shares. That's all for this week's funding roundup. Yes, we saw a big dip this week, but with several IPOs on the horizon and more deals expected in the coming weeks, it's an exciting time for the Indian startup ecosystem. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below if you want us to dive deeper into any specific sectors or startups. Until next time, stay tuned.